Rockford's home for Classic Rocks, 96.7 The Eagle. On the phone, 2010 Stanley Cup champion, Chicago Blackhawk, Brian Campbell. Brian, what's happening today?
It's all good. Just actually going to go pick up the kids from school and enjoy the nice weather here.
What is that like to have sort of a normal life again?
It's definitely different. I've never had a normal life that way, so it's been good. You know, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed being around the kids. We just had another third kid about a month and a half ago, so it's been busy, but it's been exciting to be around and also to see hockey at a different angle than what I was used to.
You don't have that excuse, I got a game tomorrow to get up for the baby, right?
Yeah, there's no more I need rest excuse for my wife. She's not buying that anymore.
So you talked about the new view. You got a new gig. You're watching hockey. You're working for the Blackhawks.
Yeah, it's been good. I've been really lucky. They've allowed me to go into many different departments within the organization, from marketing to ticketing to sponsorship, and a bit into the hockey operations side as well. So very interesting seeing all those things and how they all come together for the product and what the Blackhawks put on. But obviously the hockey ops information is something that I've always enjoyed and looked at as a player, and now you kind of see it as a different angle a little bit with the management.
Do you understand that side of hockey a little bit more now that you're part of it?
I think I understood it a little bit more later on in my career, once you kind of see the ins and outs of it all. And then to a larger extent now, what it takes, what goes into it, how much work from amateur scouting to pro scouting. It's been really interesting to see all the pieces and how many pieces there are to put that product on the ice.
Was there something that you didn't realize actually happened in the behind the scenes in the world of hockey?
Well, I think with the Blackhawks, you kind of understand maybe a little bit on the hockey side, but I think the marketing to the how much work and how they're always thinking of the next idea or to give the fans a better experience. And you look at John McDonough, what he's done. The people in the office that work there, every one of them is a quality person that has great attributes and it's a nice working environment to walk into. So you got to credit the people from up top for doing the quality hiring with John, Jay Blanc, and obviously Rocky. So it's been interesting to see how that all comes together that way.
I'm talking to Brian Campbell from the Chicago Blackhawks. What made you decide that it was time for a change and time to give up the game?
Well, I think for me, there's a few things. I think on the ice, I know I couldn't do what I once did in my prime. I know I could still play in the league, and I could have had some success, but I couldn't have had the success that I truly am used to, and I think that was a little frustrating for me. I think the other aspect is I look at my family. My wife's from Chicago. We had 2 little girls. We had another one on the way. It wasn't a situation that was going to be best for me to go into and go to a different team and a new organization and moving my family. And then my third thing was I look at what I did, and I've always felt like I've been a professional on the ice and off the ice, and the Blackhawks had an opportunity for me to work with them. And I think there's a lot of hockey players out there that once they're done, they have no idea what they're going to do for the next 15, 20 years. And that's scary, at least it is to me. And I came into a situation where I'm allowed to learn the business and knowing what I'm going to do and living in a comfortable environment for my family in Chicago, where they're happy. My wife's happy, the girls are happy, so I can really kind of focus more on them.
You had that chance in 2008 to pick Chicago. What was it about the Blackhawks in the city of Chicago that you said, I need to be there?
Well, anytime you go through free agency, that was a tough decision. I had enjoyed my time in San Jose. I had some couple good friends on that team, but for me, I think I kind of got spoiled playing a little bit closer to home in Buffalo, and I kind of wanted to be more east than all the way out west in San Jose. And I think the opportunity of playing for an original six, it was really on the upswing with obviously the drafting of Keith Seabrook and Kane and Taves. It was an opportunity to walk into something, a team that wanted me, and hopefully leave a mark, and was able to do that with a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to lift that, especially in Chicago, that it had a history of not doing well. What was that moment like where you got to lift it over your head?
Well, I think there's so much focus and hard work that goes into it, and during a Stanley Cup run, that you don't really have time to breathe at all. You're strictly focused on one thing, and that's hockey. And I think once I lifted that Stanley Cup, it felt like you could finally take a breath and really look at what you've accomplished as an individual and as a team. And I think it just felt like you could finally exhale almost for the first time in my life, because I had accomplished my dream of winning. So it's unfortunately I know I got one. I wish I had been able to find a way to get another one to experience that again. But I was in a lucky situation. There were not a lot of guys that are able to say they've done that.
I'm talking to Brian Campbell from the Chicago Blackhawks. He'll be at the Ice Hogs game tonight, signing autographs and collecting cans of soup because your nickname is Soupy. And the one thing that always astonishes me is the whole nickname system in the world of hockey. When you show up to a team, do you automatically get that nickname, or does it take a while to earn it?
For me, I kind of got that right away. It's so common, I guess. I had a different nickname in junior, and then I thought that would kind of carry on, and it never did. So I guess Soupy's kind of fairly original that way, but it could be a lot worse out there that you're called, and so I enjoy it. It's kind of when you're walking around the United Center and doing things, and every fan's yelling that, they don't half of them may not even know my name. They just know me by that. So it's been kind of fun that way.
Has it been a great experience coming back and still being a part of the organization, still interacting with the fans?
Yeah, I think, I look at this now, it's basically my hometown now. We've set our roots down here. So it's kind of, it was a chance for me to play kind of for my hometown team in a way, and obviously my wife's hometown team. So we've collected a lot of friends where we live now, and our daughters are going through the school system, so you meet more and more friends. So it's been all I could have asked for, and obviously a lot more to now be a Chicago sports fan.
There's a lot of guys that went through the trade deadline earlier this week, and you talk about, Chicago being your home. That has got to be a very difficult part of the sport, is you're with somebody for a long time and you make friends and it's your home, and then all of a sudden you're gone. Is there a way to deal with that, or is that just part of the game?
It's the ugly part of the game, to be honest with you. I think everybody looks at it and it's like, oh, just trade them. And then, you never understand truly what the player's going with, especially if they do have a family and uprooting them. But I got traded once at the dead time. Luckily, then I was single, so it was a lot easier to pick up and go. But, you definitely leave. Anytime you leave an organization, and if you put some time and effort into the community as well, it truly is, a tough thing to, it not only affects yourself, but it even affects, the community if you've, taken time to do some extra curricular things to make the community better.
Where do you think this Blackhawks team is going?
Well, it's a good question. I think it's something that obviously you're going to look at. Obviously, they kind of got some pieces at the trade deadline to hopefully have some success in the draft and some prospects. I know playoffs are still reachable, but probably technically they're probably pretty much out of it at this point, unless they go on a miraculous run. So, I think Stan did a great job of acquiring some assets for the future. And, I still think, I don't think it's a rebuild situation around here. There's an opportunity for the team to rebuild, kind of calculate themselves and get ready, hopefully, for, a better season next year.
Because really, I think nowadays you're not that far away. Everyone's, a few moves away and a few, lucky breaks from being in the playoffs and having a shot.
Yeah, I think Tampa missed the playoffs last year. Now they're the number one team in the regular season so far. You look at Colorado's knocking on the door, and they could, I don't even know if they got 50 points last year, and now they're knocking on the door of the playoffs. So you look at all those things, and there's a way to quick turn around this. We could be hopefully talking about the Blackhawks, being up there in the top next year. So it's just, they've gone on such a run, and everybody's not kind of used to this around the Chicago area. We've been so spoiled. So it's kind of an opportunity for the organization to dig deeper and finding ways to improve their hockey club.
Yeah, people are feeling the doomsday right now. I'm like, it'll be all right. Let them work through it. You're not, every year isn't going to be perfect, so it takes time.
Yeah, definitely. It's, we've been so spoiled here in Chicago with the Blackhawks, so you do have to remember that. But I'll tell you one thing, they have the right people in charge there, and the organization is first class all the way. So I think, they'll do as much as they can to get this back in a playoff position and competing for the Stanley Cup again.
Well, we're really excited about having you in town for the Ice Hogs game, and you probably don't get a chance to see a lot of these younger guys play, do you?
No, I don't, but I know in future years and maybe a little bit more even catch them, and hopefully they make the playoffs. But it's something that, I definitely feel like it's going to be available to me to get out there and look at these players to see how they're developing as well. So I'm looking forward to the game and to seeing some of these guys and watching an American League game again, because I spent a few years in the American League myself.
Well, thanks. Brian Campbell from the Chicago Blackhawks. It's Rockford's home for classic rock. It's 96.7, The Eagle.